So it's 6 o'clock. You ready, Erin?
Yes.
Yeah. So we're going to call the meeting to order. I think what do we think of this in case there's a technical issue? You tell me what you think. If we vote right now that if there's a technical issue where we need to end the meeting, then you can just boom and that when we come back on, we'll call the meeting again. Then if something comes up, you can just end the meeting. And then we can just bring it back and call the meeting to order again. What do we think?
That's your call. Ultimately, the group's call.
What, we think we're within open meeting law? I think we are.
Yes,
So-
we are.
If someone would like to make a motion to, right? Because I can't make the motion to do that, correct?
Correct.
Okay, if someone, maybe the vice chair would make a motion.
Make a motion, should there be technical difficulties in our meeting, we will abruptly close the meeting and reopen as our communications are restored.
Okay. All in favor, Rocco?
I'm fine with that.
Ali?
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah.
the words are in his face in person.
Yeah. Chris, yes?
Yes,
And yes, Julie, yes?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, great. I may have done this backwards and now, because now we have to do roll call, but just in case. So all in attendance here, I'll start on the Zoom. Rocco?
Yep.
Here.
Here,
Ali here.
Here.
Chris.
here,
And here, Julianne, yes.
Let's hear.
Maureen here. Aaron. Do we, I don't know, I should bring it. I don't know why I don't bring it.
Yeah, I would.
Public comment is. Sit. I got it. Thank you.
Yes, public comment is number 2 on it.
Do you have anyone from the public that would like to comment?
Raise their hand. Okay,
Raise hand.
Bronwyn, yep. Bronwyn, you,
Hi, Bronwyn Delavolpe at Cyrus Street. Yeah, just out of curiosity, what were you referring to about ending the meeting abruptly? What does that mean?
If there's any technical issue, so if there's a technical issue where we have to end the meeting, we've all just voted that if that happens, we have to end the meeting, we can then end it, and then once the technical issue is resolved, call the meeting back to order, just sort of like an administrative.
Oh, so like if Zoom goes out or something like that?
That's correct.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries. Do you have something you want to add, or is that it?
No, that was my only question for now. Thank you so much.
Okay, yeah, great. Thank you. Is there anyone else? Is that it? Okay, great. Moving on to number 3, meeting minutes from July 31st. I'm going to copy a chance to review. They look great.
yep.
Okay, anyone want to make a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from the last meeting.
abstain.
I'll second it.
That's what it's staying as well.
Here. Rocco second.
Yes,
All in favor? Rocco in favor?
yes.
Yeah. Ali in favor?
Yes.
Chris? Yeah.
I think you can still vote on it, even if you weren't at the meeting, if you read them
I did.
and watched them. Yeah.
You want to abstain? You want to vote? Doesn't
I'll
matter.
vote yes.
Yes. Joanne, yes.
That's it.
Unanimous. Next item, Counselor, any town council updates that we may be interested in?
No, is Ed unable to join us today? Counselor Zabrowski?
Yeah, sorry, Ed did let me know that he wasn't going to be able to join
Okay.
this evening.
Yeah, so I know you had asked for an update on the downtown, and I had actually deferred to Ed. Since he's the DPW liaison, he would have more information than I do. So can that be put off till our next meeting? I just didn't get an update. I asked if he would do it, and he said
Okay,
he would, so.
great. And that's for the bike lane and how it's
I thought you asked about Main Street infrastructure update. you had emailed and asked for an update on that.
I think it was on the Envision Wakefield
Envision.
project. Yeah.
This is going to be a bunch of DPW work going on down there, and how is that going to impact downtown? Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So can we just add that to the next meeting? And if Ed can't make it, I will check in with DPW and get an update.
Great.
We haven't talked about it at town council
Right.
recently.
Okay. Thank you. Number 5. How you doing? Good? Am I going too fast? Is this?
Okay.
Erin? Hey, Ally.
I'm just gonna double check. Okay. So yeah, under my agenda, agenda item, you wanted some updates on the digital marketing grant program, which I have, and then the facade and sign program. The digital marketing grant program, we should be rolling this out. I think I said last time, sometime late September, hopefully early October at the latest. I've decided to go with 4 different consultants, who are local. 3 are from Wakefield and 1 in Wilmington, who will cover different topics, each webinar presentation. I'm just beginning to notify the consultants now of this new structure, because when I originally went out to them, I said, could you do this for, all of it? But based on what I've heard back here, I think this is a good way forward. And I kind of chose them based on their expertise and what they sent to me. So the 4 webinars and topics that will be covered as part of this digital marketing grant program and the webinar series. Is that me with? Yeah, I think it's just,
Hey, Rocco, would you mind putting on mute just in case?
Me?
I think it's just.
Please.
Just in case.
Bounce back. Is the first one is Digital Marketing 101. So kind of just like an intro to digital marketing. What is it? Very top of the umbrella. What is it falls under digital marketing? So that could be for a business that really wants to get social media going, really doesn't know what to do with their website, just kind of an intro, if you will. The second one will be website and search engine optimization, so SEO. So we'll talk about how to design your website, what you should be thinking about when you're designing your website, either if you're doing it yourself or working with a consultant, how to work with Google to do search engine optimization or other internet type tools. The third one, which I'm excited about, is AI, CRM, and marketing. I'm excited about all of them, but in marketing automation, I just think this is something of the future, or is now, of what businesses can be using to use those tools to, stay on top of their customers when, making the job easier for them when they're doing marketing and things like that, when they're doing promotion, and just keeping their customer base. And then the last one too, I kind of had a conversation with this consultant, and I think it feeds in nicely to the business survey results, which I put that memo together, is public relations for small businesses and how that plays into some digital marketing and how our businesses can potentially work together to work on public relations as a whole, but also individually, their public relations and how that ties into digital marketing. So those are the 4. The businesses have to attend 3 out of the 4 webinars. Still trying to figure out if that's in person, Zoom, or just hybrid. They have to attend 3 out of 4 to be eligible for the grant funds. At this time, I've allocated $8,000 altogether for the consultant fees, and the rest of the $52,000 will go towards the grants. I'm hoping to help around, I did the math, 16 to 17 businesses roughly, with I know it's kind of an odd number, but around $3,000 each, just because, and there might be some more money available to help another business, because I did hear $2,000 was not enough last time to really, do the work that they wanted to. And they must apply a marketing canvas or marketing plan, if you will, on when they're applying for it. And then there's other things they have to kind of fill out as well. So I think too, this program lines up really nicely with the survey results and what people would like to see support from the town, both being a grant and then also when it comes to advertising and marketing. I think that was one of the biggest things that people said in the business survey. Oh yeah, marketing and advertising both online and print. That's the most technical assistance they'd like to see. So I think that's good that we are kind of ahead of the curve. Can answer questions now or at the end about that, if anyone has any.
So it hasn't launched yet, so you don't know?
No. So it has not launched yet. I honestly, from a capacity issue, I'm waiting till the sign and facade, I get those applications in, and then I'm hoping we'll roll out the webinars, and I'm trying to figure out how to space them out. Should be once a week, every 2 weeks. So not yet, but I will definitely notify this group when I have a flyer like I did with the facade sign, when we have it set up. And then I'll be doing outreach to the business community and to other organizations.
We do, from a communications perspective, do we ever do like teasers? So like, it's coming, so folks maybe like,
No, I would rather all the information from a personal, because then people ask me questions and I may not have the answers, but I've never done a teaser yet.
do you have a question?
Do not know.
Anyone have any questions for Erin?
I think that sounds amazing.
Yeah,
That sounds
should be
great.
good.
I love the topics. And you found consultants for each one of them.
Mhm.
I think that's so great. I just think I see new businesses who come and they kind of try to do social media.
Mhm.
And then a lot of it's like word of mouth, right? But there's like experts can give them really great advice about how to do it, and they're all trying to figure it out. So I think it's really great. And so you'll kind of come up with the protocol, like you have to go to the
Mhm.
webinars to then apply for the grant.
Yeah. So I know how busy small business owners are. So, for example, digital marketing 101 to someone may be like, okay, like I know this stuff already, but like AI, CRM, that's like where they really want to grow. Maybe someone just is trying to get started. So the AI and CRM is like, they're not quite there yet. So I thought the 3 out of 4 might be good. And then from there again, having them do an application and then kind of put a marketing plan together, if you will, that highlights what kind of market they're missing, what they plan to use this money for, what their outcomes are going to be, hopefully, from doing this program. So we have some, I think we talked about this last time, some target goals. And then if it's down the line, we kick in more money. If we find it to be successful in helping the businesses, then we can have some attainable information or data and things like that we have. So.
You have them do the marketing plan before and then have the consultants help with it? Or do you have them do it afterwards once they get the knowledge?
I think it's up to them if they want to bring someone on. I mean, I think too, they may have to kick in a little bit of their own, depending on how much they want to do. But before I just had them do it on their own, it's very straightforward. I'll have like a template that they have to fill out. And then after that, they should probably follow up they should work. I'm not saying they have to, but it might be beneficial to them to work with a consultant afterwards. And I think having the 4 different ones, which was a great idea, is you get to see 4 different people and see, maybe if you want to work with one of the 4, work with whoever you want, but you can kind of see what they have to offer.
Are you comfortable sharing who they are?
Well, I haven't notified 2 out of the 4 yet, so
Fine.
I'll let the group know. Yeah, but they are local people, so I think, yeah.
And can I suggest, as someone, I just think business owners are so busy,
Yeah.
if we recorded it
Yep.
and then you made it available. So like if they can't do it live, then you can be like, can you watch it? And like, they sign off somewhere that they watched it, because then they can do it at midnight and, it's an hour. But we do that a lot, that we record stuff and then
Yeah.
you just have to watch it at some off time.
Okay.
And then something to just think about. I'm seeing a trend in town, better than I do, but of businesses where English maybe isn't their first language.
Yeah.
And I would just love to like some thought about that, about when we have, a bakery that's Brazilian, or we have like I'm trying to think, I don't know, it's not Mexican, but the new, there's like English isn't their first language. And so, and the marketing and the promotion of them, just to think about if English language speakers aren't they're actually trying to appeal to non-English speakers as well.
That's a really good point. And that's, definitely. That's something Jen and I have talked about with the health department. We are hoping to translate some stuff, other projects we've been working on, but I think that's a really great point. And how do we work with them? Even if we translate some of the stuff about the grant, how do we work with them during the process, right? With that language barrier. So we'll definitely, I appreciate that. No, I appreciate that. It's a good
Yeah.
point.
And I just think when you think about marketing and stuff businesses and also, just a younger generation using TikTok, but it's not in English that they're doing. And so just to think about that.
Okay. Thank you.
I think Kate has translators. So I don't know if on something like this, if it's an opportunity to leverage the state level
Okay.
translation services because it's a public program.
Yeah, I know the health, they work with someone, and I know they have a contact. I can't think of it on the top of my head, but I'll reach out to Rep. Gary Beaton as well. So hopefully by the next meeting, it will be kind of ready to go, pushed out and.
Perfect timing, right?
Yeah. And then facade, I don't really have much to report. Applications continue to roll in. I continue to answer questions from businesses and property owners. So far, I've talked to directly 25 businesses and property owners and have received 4 applications, but I'm not too worried because I think I did ask, if they had to supply a lot, so they had to do some homework prior to applying. I'll be sending a reminder email to all the business and property owners who have expressed interest over the next couple of days, reminding them of the deadline. I'll also do a last marketing push too as well. September 1st, which is tough because it's Labor Day too. So yeah, we could extend it based on the number of applications we get. I'm totally not against that. I rolled it out in June, so I think there was a good amount of time. At this point, they could get some work done in the fall, but some of it may have to wait till the spring anyways because of the weather. So yeah, I'm open to extending it as well. So I think it's good to always have a deadline, right? Because that gets people thinking, but I'm open to extending.
So how can we help get the word out on this one? Like I know Chris
Yes.
reached out to a couple of folks. Is there something that we can do as a council to help sort of get the word out?
Yeah, I definitely think I think whatever we've done has been great. I've gotten a lot of phone calls from folks that are interested. I think some of you here and others in town have mentioned like the building department, as well as the health department has spread the word when they've gone out for inspections and things like that. I could give you more flyers to hand out. If you just see a business that you think would be interested, let them know.
You have a script that you use? Like, we don't want to walk in and say,
All the information's on the flyer.
facade.
Yeah. I just say, I'm walking around, the town has this new program that we've never offered before. It's all pretty much on the flyer. So it's pretty straightforward, just, something you may be interested in, this opportunity to be able to streamline the process as well, working with different departments, because I've been working really closely with building as well, doing some hand holding to make sure that we're staying within all the sign codes and things like that.
Did I recall correctly? I think you had 40 or so inquiries already.
I have 25 I've marked down, but I've had more people. These are people that have said like, I'm going to do it. I've definitely talked to more people that have called and asked questions and things like that. Yeah.
The official applications do you have in?
4.
But you're expecting 25.
I don't know what I'm expecting. I'm expecting, yes, 25 have said they're going to apply. I'm hoping that.
With everything, easier said than done.
Yeah.
So
No,
I'm sure
I
there's
know.
many people that say, yeah, I'm going to do this. And by the time they get down the road, it doesn't get done. But
Well, they must know, might find out that they have to put their own money into part of it.
Mhm.
So
It would be good to know if there's a roadblock there that maybe if we can, right? Like, I don't have the time, I don't have this, or I know with one of the business owners who actually did submit, I know there was a challenge he was having around sort of the paperwork side of things. A little bit, I think, to Maureen's point of the, not necessarily a language barrier, but maybe. So I'm wondering if there's if there's something that's preventing folks from finishing the process, it'd be good to know what that is, and something that we can help.
Okay. So I think, with me sending out an email, reaching out to them, I could let them know if you're having issues or challenges, let me know. If you need a hard copy of the application, I'm more than happy to drop that off for you. I did it through the portal because it's easier. I just want to make sure everyone is good on their permits, taxes, and things like that. So it's just easier to do it that way, but I'm open to, so I'll definitely follow up with folks. I think small business owners, it's always time. Yeah.
And the 1st is a Sunday, so it might it's another email touch point of being like, deadline extended.
Yeah.
Do it till that Friday,
Yeah,
because everyone is on vacation kind of in August.
yeah.
So
I just did like the month of August. I should have looked at the actual date.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely will.
And I forgot to put the survey. I know you sent out the survey results.
Yeah, do you want to do that now? Yeah, okay. I did print out a few extra copies. I sent this memo out yesterday, which if you want me to put it on our website, I can. So I know at the last meeting you asked if I could just I kind of ran through the survey results. I know I sent you guys the charts of what the results were. But it didn't really I kind of just spoke to what it kind of showed. So basically, as of yesterday, we've had 44 responses from the business community. This is just a very high-level summary of the survey results based on the questions asked. And based on what I've seen from the people that have filled out the survey, it seems like it's a lot of small businesses, which is good. I did send it to some of bigger businesses as well. But I'll just run through these real quickly. Again, this survey was put together to help guide this group on where we want to allocate or I shouldn't say where you'd like to allocate funds moving forward. Again, I'm very excited that one of the top 3 things was marketing, and we're kind of on that. So the first question that was, and I have mine here, I can pull up. Does someone need a copy? Are you guys good?
We'll share.
Okay. You know, what type of technical assistance does your business need? And the top 3 answers included were marketing and advertising, both online and print, and that was overwhelmingly 54%. So over half of people have said that's where they need the most assistance.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Is this the folks who responded this way? Are they mapped back to the folks who are coming? Oh, because you haven't sent that out back. It'd be interesting to see if the folks who responded this way are the ones who are actually signing up for the digital.
Yeah, and there's an easy way to do that. You pull whoever did that with their emails, answered that question that way.
It'd be a nice.
Yeah. Number 2 was participating in shared marketing and advertising. So again, that goes back to how do you work together with our business community to kind of create a shared marketing and advertising campaign. That was 38.6. And then the third one, again, was training on social media. These all go together, but they're different at the same time. I won't run through the open responses. Again, I can put this online if you want as well. But they're pretty broad and different too. Number 2, what type of physical improvements does your business need? The top 3 answers, again, I think this speaks to the programs we have, is sign and facade. So again, I'll pull that information now and make sure that people know about our facade and sign program that's going on. And that was 54%, 54.5. And I double checked that because it was the same as above. I'm like, did I mess that up? 2 was renovation of current space. So things inside their building. And then number 3 was technology improvement. So that's everything from like computers, type stuff and things like that. Number 3, what type of financial program would you be interested in? I think everyone can kind of guess. I mean, who wouldn't want to turn down free money? Fully funded grants from the town, overwhelmingly 79.5%. And then number 2, matching grants from the town, about 56.8%. And then low interest loans still at 31%. So people are open to that, that being an option for financing. I thought some of this open responses are kind of quick, were interesting, is, subsidized retail and that stuff I've kind of talked about with property owners, is like helping new businesses that are coming in. Can we work with them to subsidize their rent because it's always those first few months are tough on them when they're doing build out and things like that. Office or programming spaces. So having more general programming spaces for people to go to. And then there was one for buy land for parking. I don't know if that falls under this, but someone put that there. So I thought that was interesting. And then
A lot of the parking comments revolved around Albion Street
yeah.
and the town subsidized parking that's there. Were there 10 town spaces or is that a permit?
So in the item,
It's a $10 permit for the item spaces?
yeah, so it's like a merchant parking pass. You can park there, which you can park in other merchant parking spaces throughout the town. Throughout the year, it's like $12, I think now. So there's,
How many spaces are at the item?
I want to say around 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say around 10. They have cones there. That was one of the things that we heard.
We cleared out many.
Yeah. I wish more people took advantage of it. Customers can take advantage of it as well. But yeah, parking. And then the other question, they were all different questions, but they were all kind of came together, was rank initiatives from the town that are most important to you, 1 being the least and 10 being the most. I put them all in there, but the top 3, the first one was improvements in safety and or cleanliness. That was 8.1%. Number 2 was renovation of storefront and building facades, 7.9%. So I think we really need to push this, do something with this facade and sign program, get this going. Changes in public parking availability, management or policies, 7.8%. If you guys want me to run through the rest, no. So those were the top 3. And then at the bottom of the memo too, I didn't put it on this, but waste paper, I do have all the survey results with the open-ended responses as well too. So I'm happy with 44 responses. Of course, you always want more, but it's always good to hear from folks. And hopefully this will be a tool to kind of give you guys an idea of how other funds should be used. But it seems like we're kind of checking off some boxes already with what the responses are. And so that's that. So. Yeah.
Any questions? Ali, Rocco? Chris?
No,
Thank you.
that was a good survey though. Very interesting.
And what's I know you've told us at previous meetings, what's the number of businesses that you go by that you would say we have in town if somebody, I know it's like a range, but like 100?
Oh,
200?
way more. Yeah. I mean, I think even the health permit licenses I pulled to send information is easily like over, I don't want to misspeak. I don't want to misspeak. I don't know on the top of my head. I'd have to get back to you. I know when I reach out to business, I did for the survey too. I walked around to each commercial district and handed it out. But, you know, that doesn't account to businesses like on Audubon Road and things like that.
Yeah.
So on the top of my head, I couldn't give you an answer.
Yeah. So if the next meeting, just,
Yeah.
I think the survey is amazing. I think 44 responses to anything is a lot, but I'm just curious, is it, you know, and I mean, the big ones, maybe they won't respond, but kind of,
They're probably have
it's
different.
probably like 200-ish is probably what I would guess, right? And we're taking out kind of the,
I would say, so the MailChimp that I send information out, I've kind of built it over collecting business cards and going out. I have over 300, but that includes, you know, this committee here, property owners and things like
Yeah.
that. So yeah, I mean, that's
Yeah.
not, but that again doesn't include every business either that comes and goes.
so
So
now 45, even with that, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's really great.
yeah, so it was good. And the chamber was a great partner and helped share it and everything. They've been great sharing all these programs. So thank you,
I
chamber.
feel like the chamber, I'm getting an email like every week of a new business opening and a new ribbon cutting. It's feeling really good that businesses are choosing us, you know, so.
You know, when I looked at the survey, I did see quite a few chamber members that were responded.
And I told John Smolinski too, I didn't send him this memo. I wanted to review this with you guys first. But I did send him the survey results, like, I think right before vacation. I said, this might be a good guide for you to, and it segues nicely into that leader or business speaking series that they're running in partnership with the town. So they're gonna add our logo because we gave them $10,000. The first one's the nonprofit. But I said, this info might be a good one for you to kind of us to work together to think of other speakers that should come to talk to the businesses based on what they're saying their needs are. So
You have something, Will?
At the moment, no.
I enjoyed seeing names on the survey and knowing the people and what their comments were, because I almost could have written their comments for them on some of them.
And I'd like to ask just a couple of questions, just a couple of things. So the renovation of current space was, because I'm assuming because this is sort of your language, right? So right. So renovation of current space, did folks sort of indicate what they mean by that? Like, is that something where looking to expand their business or somehow looking to improve their business? Or is it that something's broken and they need it?
I think it's a mixture of both. I'm trying to think, there was some open-ended things. I don't know if it's there. I'm just going based on what people have told me in the past too. I kind of look at it as being both things, redoing their space, but then also maybe if they have an HVAC system or want a new counter or things like that, I think that falls under that.
If we just take a moment, because I'm sort of wondering if we could fund some renovation of current space, if it is to sort of expand a business or to grow a business, because that is economic development versus the AC is broken. But I'd be curious what folks think. Is that out of scope for us?
Well, I guess I'd say some of that money could be to salvage a business too. That seems
Right.
to be struggling. And if you've got some interior improvements, that may be a better draw for people into the business and help keep it afloat.
Right. Right, and certainly, I would certainly think if they're looking to expand, like, oh, if I could just XYZ internally over here, I can expand my business, that's growing. I think,
Yeah, it depends on, how much money they would need or what they're thinking and what actually, where do we draw the parameters of what we would provide.
right.
I guess the question would be for Erin. Has anybody reached out in the sign or the facade program and said, hey, I don't really need the facade, but
Yeah.
Can I get some interior stuff?
Yes, I've had someone ask about a kitchen floor that's becoming a safety hazard in a restaurant. I had someone else with an HVAC system that their property owner, and this business probably very much needs it. I think I had someone else ask about like, again, counter. I think that's what made me think about it. I also had someone ask about exterior, doing some work. I don't know, it's like their dumpster nicer, how that would look nicer and things like that. I know that's not interior, but yeah, I've had different people reach
Well,
out to
site
me.
improvement, I think, falls under this money.
The facade.
Yeah.
Anyone on Zoom? Ali, any thoughts on, do you think that's outside our scope to do interior?
I do. My opinion was that it was more of an external thing, and it'll sort of bleed into other projects that are harder to police. That was my opinion.
Rocco?
I agree with that too. Interior stuff, I'm sure it's important to the business owners, to the businesses, but if you're looking at the physical landscape of the town and all that, and you're trying to improve all of that, then I think that's more of where we're going with this project. So I definitely agree with Ali.
Ali?
I would be more open to looking at it, especially if, it's a safety issue like a kitchen floor that's affecting a business. I think cost, like Ann said, cost is going to come into play, but I would be open to looking at some different situations businesses are having.
Well,
I guess it's a case by case basis, really. And whether the facade and outside kind of supersedes it, then kind of apply the fund there. And could it perhaps be split if there's extra that they have that could kind of move into fixing the floor? I mean, the floor repairs and all that, unless it's subfloor and you're going all the way down into the joists and stuff, but it's case by case basis, I think.
yeah, that was my thought, is that if it's a case where someone's looking to expand, like if I can move this thing out of the way, then I can grow my business, that may be something that maybe we could think about assisting on. Or if it's a safety thing, I think you get to take care of that. That's part of your business, right? But
Right.
something where you'd grow or you expand, maybe even to the point of just looking at the renovation of current space, maybe even to the point of if you had a bigger space, would these issues go away? Just curious. Thank you everyone for weighing in. I'm wondering if we discuss it at the next meeting, maybe a little bit more in depth.
I would recommend this group to look at Mass Growth Capital Corporation. They are like the financial arm for small businesses. They offered a lot of grants and loans during the pandemic. And they have a grant program. They had one grant program called Business Power, which was a crowdfunding where that money could be used to support the businesses to make interior improvements to their building. But they also have a loan program too, where that they're microloans. So basically what we're going to run to make interior improvements to their building, whether it be renovation, expansion, and things like that. So it might give you some ideas, even if it's a grant program here, of like what could be done. So.
Because that would run into the other thing that I see that tie into the bullet on the straight out grants, fully funded grant from towns for matching grants. Because then you could tie that to that bullet. So, you know, there's a potential of saying if it's to renovate the current space, if it's to actually do X, Y, and Z, if it's to actually hire people, like tie maybe a grant program, be it half or full, to a couple of metrics, right? Like growing your current business, hiring X, Y, and Z, so having some metrics in place.
Yeah.
Is there literature or somewhere where, I know there's a lot of grants out there for businesses, even through like Maria DeStefano. She does like a lot of things and different.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Mhm.
Is there a, like, I don't want to say a brochure or something that we could put together
Mhm.
that, you know, give it to the people, give it to the businesses to say, you know, like the kitchen floor, like, oh, there's a grant that you can get for this by going, you know, try these different 10 to 12, 15 places, you know.
I think that that's kind of what is a weapon or a tool that I could definitely benefit from, because a lot of the people and businesses that I've been speaking with, and I've gotten really down kind of to either the owner of a brewery or a couple different restaurants, a couple different specialty shops are looking for an email from me to highlight exactly what we have to offer here in Wakefield. And I don't think I can like copy and paste all this stuff myself and create it for myself. So if there was something that we could use to, you know, highlight the various steps and all the assets that we have to offer the people, and then go directly into Erin to match up with different property sizes. That's basically my final step, and that's super duper.
You want to create a user-friendly link that we can just
That.
forward to people so they can, here you go, here's the link, click through and you know, your world would open up for you. You can find everything you need.
They're looking for collateral. They're looking for collateral. They're looking for a nice collateral, a nice brochure.
Yeah, something, because a
Yeah.
lot of
But,
times.
I mean, it's going to have to be digital. I mean, the foot's already in the door. It's just a matter of bridging them to, you know, basically Erin right now.
Well, couldn't it be like, you know, 4x8 or something? You know, some people get lazy, they don't want to go online, but you do a QR code where they
Right.
could pop in and
Right.
open their world, like Chris says.
So the pop-up shop aspect has been extremely popular. So that was in there as well. Basically just a bullet point of all the various things that we talked about, at least since I've been here.
Could you put together like a 4 or 5 bullets of what you're
Sure, I could, I mean, I have one that's,
add to your, to your work? Would that go to Jen?
So I'm trying to follow. So the bullet points would highlight.
This is information about our pop-up program. This is information about,
all the various things that we have to offer, whether it be even the facade and the improvement, basically.
but if you can start, if you can lead with if you give me these 5 things, I can have this conversation and then I can set the meeting, right? So if you had
I just don't,
this is our pop-up program. This is the,
yeah, the pop-up program, and even, you know, demographic information, available sites, just like a nice, clean, it doesn't have to be super flashy. I like the ideas. I like some of the videos that I've seen emailed to us that kind of gives a little bit more.
so when you go in and talk to them, you talk about the pop-up thing and they say, that's great. Can I get more information? So we have the pop-up program. So we could have that as a bullet.
Yeah.
What else are they asking for specifically? Are they asking for demographics?
Spaces and locations that are available. So number one question I've asked.
Spaces, okay.
I mean, right now, See, I'm a very superstitious person, so I don't want to say anything until I'm 100% sure. But a lot of the marketing managers and district managers for the breweries I'm friends with, but to get the okay, then you have to obviously go all the way to the top. And right now, you have to have a really special product to be able to expand, and to be able to kind of get your toe into our late queue. The pop-up shop would be a great option. And like I said before, even if you have similar but not exact businesses, you could have multiple breweries or restaurants or any example that you can think of.
Can I pause you for one second? Erin, are you all set on number 5? Are you all set with your updates?
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Mhm.
Number 6, how about we don't have that. A couple of bullets missing. One of the bullets was ideas, right? We have it down here?
Yeah, and C.
Thank you. So, Will, we're talking about item number 6, C, potential business attraction, retention, and funding ideas. So we can sort of put a framework around what you're talking about.
Mhm.
If we literally have, so Aaron's gonna put together the pop-up stuff. Do you have the available spaces or no? That's what you're chasing all the time.
That's what you're chasing all the time. Yeah.
So specific to breweries, they would fall within a very specific, correct?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a,
You could get a special permit, but yeah, by right, there's certain parts of town that you could go. Yeah.
Do we have?
Depends on how it's defined. Yep.
Do we have a list of what those like, with your knowledge, if you were asked, if you're in this meeting, which I do think you're getting to a point where you're gonna wanna really pull Aaron in. If you were getting to the point where you're having this conversation and you're listening to what the brewery person is looking for, would you be in a position to say, I know 4 places where that would fit?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And sometimes it's not available, but stay on top of it. Yeah.
it's the ball rolling.
So can you send him, or you don't think you're at the point where a conversation with Aaron kind of makes sense with who you're talking with?
I do, and I've lost one of the breweries. I've already decided on a different location, which is kind of a bummer. But there's other ones. I've gone to 4 states so far and about 11 different breweries, and I've kind of got to the end game in each one. I'm kind of surprised that a couple haven't reached out to her directly yet, but
Can you facilitate that? So could you say, let me work with Erin and get her on her schedule?
sure. I just wanted to make it not, as time effective as possible for you. I don't want,
Oh, well, that's my job. So even if it's like, I've had so many breweries call me like, oh, I'm just interested in Wakefield. Can you tell me about this and that? And I mean, they're not even ready for space yet, but I mean, I'm more than happy to help any way along the process.
some hot leads,
Let's get some hot leads, yeah.
Yeah. So I would love to be connected. Yeah.
And then, so then, that would be great. So the pop-ups, spaces that you would think the top 4, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, just
1/3
3 or
bullet.
4 would be great, just to,
What's a 3rd bullet that really you think they're really looking for?
um,
Because then she can come, she's not coming in cold, she can come in understanding.
that's a good question.
Well, if you can think of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm checking out the website, and I think the website has a lot of information.
It does. Yeah.
So, it's about, here's resources we've compiled about starting a business and like the permit process.
Yeah.
And there's a thing about the facade and sign programs up there. I don't see the pop-up there yet.
Yes.
But, our website's pretty good. I think at the end of the day, the conversation has to be with Erin, right? Like, so it's however we get those businesses. And I know, like, thank you so much for chasing them down. I've been on the town council for 7 years, and for 7 years we've heard like, we got to get a brewery. We got to, like Beverly has, Melrose has one, and I think it's just been really hard. But I looked that we have a new tap room on my part of town, right? So
Right.
like,
It's
people
happening.
are finding ways to come here. It's just, it's like
I
a
think,
unicorn, but I think we're doing like as much as we can get, Erin.
so I think what's really amazing about what you've done is I think you're out there actively doing what you folks wanted us to bring to the table, right? To sort of help with the process here. And then we get to bring you in as the expert. Getting a hot lead versus someone giving you a call is a different, sales is a different animal, right?
Right.
Totally different animal. And when you get to that point, it has to be less of, go to my website, it has to be more of the wooing process, right? Right? I think you called it something else, I forget what you called it. How do we marry the two, I think is what you said. So it sounds like you're in a really good spot to really bring Erin in from a power position to say, this is who we are, this is great. Erin gets to say, we've had folks come, this is what we can offer. I'm wondering if there's something around, not taxes, but because we have the process, right? So we streamlined the process, but something as far as if there's municipal benefit, like what the municipality does for folks who are interested in coming here, from how we as a municipality help new businesses, how we help compete, because we have to compete now, right? We really
Yeah.
have to compete. And then what does the municipality do? Not so much with the process, but with
Financial.
X, Y, and Z here at this municipality, yes, we can match that, right? Those sort of conversations.
Yeah, which, I think is tough with a community like Wakefield. We don't have, I mean, we've done a TIF with a life science company, Nanoramic, and that was a huge sell. I think right now, you have communities, gateway cities, I think I talked about this at the beginning, where they have all these funds that they can offer, and we don't have those types of funds. That's why this ARPA funds is a, unique situation. Talking to other communities, I don't know of what else they've offered. I could look into, certain districts that you can create within your community that are sort of like a TIF where you get tax breaks and things like that. But it's nothing I've explored quite yet. That's something I should probably look into too.
Because that, to me, I think would then, like when you're getting to the point of you're saying, well, I'm looking at this other place and they're saying they can give me X, Y, and you're right, it's a gateway. It's
Very hard. Yeah, yeah.
But if you're in a position where, if we can, one of the things I've been thinking about is how do we bring in a cornerstone industry, or a job creator? Like that's something that I think we really lost here. Not because of anyone's fault of
Yeah,
anybody.
I get it.
And can we allocate some of the funds to really attract like a job creator, a brewery, which is a job creator? Is there something, can we allocate something here that maybe you looking at the programs, it would help bring in a cornerstone industry? Can we just allocate it and then continue to talk about what the detail is around it? Is that not what your intent was? Because what we don't want to do is go against the intent of the town council. Is your intent that we can allocate it as long as it falls within the structure that you folks gave us? Yeah. So we could say, let's allocate 150,000 to,
To the pursuit of businesses that we would love to see come to Wakefield. You're gonna court them.
but it's got to be like a
It's gotta be the right, and I liked Aaron's idea about a TIF district. Because if you're looking for an industry like that, they're gonna need a lot of space and a good location with the proximity we like to downtown. So, how would you spend that money to court somebody like that? And
But can we, because we have, I think I did my math, so we've already allocated 4, 5, 60, 70.
We have $420,000 in
Right.
further meeting.
Can we take out the 420? And I'm asking the council, how do folks feel about maybe taking some out of the 420 and saying, we're going to allocate it to this concept, this bucket of pursuit of a cornerstone industry with a job creator, and not really have all the details, but we know that that's something that we really want to work on. And then Erin goes and, again, she's going to say, that's my job. It goes in.
Yeah, I feel like, are you creating a new town position? Like, I don't understand what, like, that is Erin's job. So,
I'm not creating, no, it
right.
goes to.
So what would the 150,000 then go for? That's what I'm not, like, I'm unclear about what you're using Chris's language of pursuit. Like, what's the actionable that you need $150,000 to do?
Erin would tell us.
You don't have it right now.
Right, exactly.
That'd
Exactly.
be my question as well. Like, are you talking, what are you talking, that 150,000 you would use
I
or
just
get
threw that
for
number out
that?
there.
Right,
Yeah.
it could be 25.
Exactly.
I mean, you could use, when you're talking about Cornerstone, are you talking about like a large business off Audubon Road getting here? Okay, so that's where we pull in the tax increment finance from a state and local level. That's where that finance comes in because it's all based on job creation. You lose all that, all that tax breaks if you're not creating jobs based on your agreement with the state and the local level. So I don't know, I've never heard of another community do this, but I don't know if there's any way like the town could match a certain amount of funds based on the job creation that you promise the state, like the local level will promise you like X amount of money for each employee that you hire, or I don't know. I haven't heard of that. It's just an idea I'm throwing out, but that's kind of what the thought process was behind TIF.
Because the point of the council is for us to kind of advise and make recommendations. So I think part of what we're going to do here, correct me if I'm wrong, is just come up with ideas and kind of throw them up against the wall and see what sticks.
It's a marketing campaign in pursuit of Cornerstone
The
Industries.
marketing
I-
campaign.
Is what you're, I think, driving at. And what do you put together to, flip the brewery to who decides they want to come here? I think your zoning area TIF is a great thought. But how do you convey the availability of that to enough different industries or enough different businesses? And, as part of that money used to target or find out even who to target.
Right.
So it's it might be like a data mining thing, what businesses you think are up and coming, viable and Cornerstone like, and how do we get on their radar? How do we get us on their radar?
That's right. That's right.
And that's what you'd spend the money towards. And again, I think it's a marketing campaign, maybe coupled with a TIF in an area or two. I liked your idea about zoned TIFs.
Well, the state does have the I couldn't think of the name on the top of my head, Massachusetts Vacant Storefronts Program, which I can send to this group after, but for the sake of this meeting and being transparent, the program is to help municipalities in their effort to revitalize their downtowns or commercial areas. And basically, after they receive that designation from the state and achieve a commitment of local matching funds, I'm not sure what that exactly means. Businesses or local businesses or individuals may apply to the EACC, which is a state run through Massachusetts Office of Business Development, for refundable EDIP tax credit, which the EDIP is part of the TIF program, the tax increment finance, for leasing and occupying a vacant storefront in that district. So they get tax credits if the business or individual get tax credits if they lease or occupy that space. So reading that quickly, I want to say it's kind of like a TIF for someone that may take over a small business or a business in a commercial area, whether it be Greenwood, downtown, that's been vacant, and then they get tax breaks on that. It should be tied to job creation, but again, I haven't dug really deep into this.
Understood. This is throwing it at the wall.
But this is something maybe this group thinks about maybe applying for as a district within the town.
And given how you spend some of that, just kind of processing, would it be worth saying, here's some discount to get into a space downtown that's substantially sized, but maybe a landlord is, since it's been vacant for years or two or three, would be interested in some subsidized rent for a year or two to bring someone who's going to fill 3,000 or 4,000 square feet of space and doesn't quite think they have the capability to do that yet. Geez, if you take this space and we can help you discount the rent for a year.
I think there's a bunch of ways, right? And so where I'm trying to get to is we have 420,000. Do we want to start bucketing? Let's look at how do we do this for a cornerstone industry? And if we can allocate a certain amount, is this something that's going to help you where you're like, oh, there's this program that if the municipality can give, can also fill the bucket, then we already have cash over there for you, right? So it's not to take anything, it's to support. I'm going to throw to Zoom. Ali, do you have any comments?
I'm a little confused about the size of the space and the goal.
Mhm.
We're looking to attract an employer and specifically, or this is part of revitalizing downtown retail? Because in my mind, those are two separate things.
My thought is a bigger employer, like an Audubon, something out on Audubon.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about, you know, a big employer taking up 20, 30,000 square feet, you know, and creating jobs in Wakefield, I would allocate budget to that for sure.
Yeah, I was thinking more downtown. If you're gonna invest and build out a space downtown, and you are doing an interior build out on some of the spaces downtown or around the business district, you know, maybe we can help with that. You know, maybe that's the hook you're looking for to drag someone into downtown or into the business district that might not
A job creator?
have it on their radar. Well, if you're gonna open up a business that's gonna fill one of the spaces that's 2,500 to 5,000 square feet around the district, it is gonna create jobs. That is gonna bring more vitality downtown when some of that space is filled.
I think it's, a lot of it has to do with the size and scope. I mean, can you talking about a big business? That's one set of ideas that you need to come up with. But if it's something that you want to put in a downtown district, and it would be, seems to me like a much smaller scale than
There's some
something like
spaces
an
downtown
Audubon.
that are pretty substantial. You probably would know as
Yeah.
well. A couple of spots that I'm thinking of without mentioning them that are, 3,000 square feet or 4,000 square feet, that you have that kind of space and you have a business in there, you're going to need employees. Or you're gonna need service staff, or you're gonna need,
So I agree. What I was thinking is more
well, there's both.
right, there's both.
Yeah, it's
There's both.
different
It's not
things.
right.
I have
That's true.
no issue whatsoever for Audubon Road TIFs and Audubon Road incentives and a marketing or a targeting campaign to find people to go to Audubon Road.
But it makes sense, two things. I love both, think both ideas. I think there's an opportunity here talking about downtown, commercial areas, Greenwood, to potentially look into this Massachusetts vacant downtown storefront program, because it does say there's a local matching grant as part of it. And I'm reading now, you can support up to 2 businesses or individuals a year, and it's kind of like a TIF where they get tax credits. So I would love to send to this group for you guys to review, and I can find some more information. Burlington has one. A few another community I just saw, like the same size as Wakefield has one. But it's just a tool in our toolbox if we create these districts.
That's the right word.
But then that some of these funds could maybe come, maybe not from the overall, general account of the town, but from this this group here. My second thought, and I don't know how you sustain that, I'm moving forward, so that's something I'd have to look into. My second thought with you is we have the tool in the toolbox is the tax increment finance. And for larger businesses like the life sciences, the ones you're seeing at the office like Audubon, and how do we use that more of as a tool moving forward to attract businesses where that goes to your marketing campaign? So but I don't know if with the TIF, if there's a way that the town could say we get a business, they're like, oh, you guys offer TIFs here. Wonderful. We're going to build our space. If the town, we already offer those tax breaks already, we voted on a town meeting with the state level. If there's more we could do to kick in for because for me, it's ultimately going back to job creation.
Right. So maybe it's not even specific. And Ally, I want to make sure we give you a moment. Maybe it's like, we love this space, but this right here is we need this fixed and makes it a no, this is a no for us unless we can get this fixed. And it's like, whatever, it's an X amount of dollars that then we could say, you know what, to get you here, we'll take care of this. Because that's, that's actually what happens a lot, right? We'll take care of this to get you in. That happens in a lot of municipalities. So that maybe is something that,
Larger companies, I think they have the funds to do something like that. So that's where I'm kind of,
but if they're looking, if you're, because we're competing, so if we're competing and it's like, I have everything I want here, I have everything I want here except for this thing, I like you guys better, then we go, oh, we'll totally take care of that thing. Because we're competing with
no,
everything.
I get what you're saying.
So someone comes in like that and say their business only stays for a year, and we've done this, do we make a commitment, you have to.
Sometimes
you
it's
have to
just money
stay
back,
for years,
Yeah.
or they have to pay the money back.
right.
Right. Ally, do you have any thoughts?
No, nothing to add right now. Thank you.
And again, you and I have talked about it.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm always up here and you bring it back to,
I'm just thinking at a higher level what that looks like, and I don't have those answers tonight.
right, now,
Yeah,
Expect-
and I get what you're saying as a competitive edge, but when I've talked to larger companies or folks, property owners that are trying to attract these larger businesses, I think any money is nice, but I think what we'd have would be pennies, and I don't know if that would ultimately be why someone chooses. I'm just talking out loud, Wakefield. Yeah.
I think your point about, geez, there's a great space. I really like it. It's in the business district and I need, owner wants me to do the HVAC and I don't have that money.
Or the
Love to come here
The sprinkler system.
or the sprinkler system or something like that. I think that is different than the targeting campaign for someone going to Audubon Road, but I think both are viable. And both are worth.
Both are important, very important, yeah.
And, you're looking to fill downtown business district spaces, be it anywhere in town in the business districts that, that kind of business that might fill 3,000 to 5,000 square feet. Maybe that incentive to sprinkle it for them
right?
is enough to get them to say, yeah, I'll take that space.
Because then they see
and-
Wakefield, actually, I think then they do see like, okay, Wakefield's gonna work with us. They're X, Y, and Z, they really want us to be here. I'm gonna do a time check, it's 7:03. Are folks okay? Anyone need to?
I actually have to step out.
Okay,
I have to pick someone up at the airport in a little bit, so I'll definitely review the notes and everything to see what comes from the rest of this meeting for sure,
this is
though.
the
I
fun
thought it
stuff,
was
right,
really-
Rocco?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, right?
Okay,
So,
great, thank you.
thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Night.
Take care.
Good night.
I also have to jump off too.
3, 4, 5, okay. Great, thanks, Ally.
Bye. Have a
Thanks,
good night,
Ellen.
everybody.
You
Bye,
too.
Ally.
Take care.
Bye. And then there was one. You're it, Ally. Yeah, whatever we can do, so we have, what'd you say, 4:20?
Mhm.
We have 4:20, so I think if we start having conversations around what are the bigger things we want to work towards, because we still have to allocate this. And not having all the ducks in a row, not having all, but saying like, we really like this idea. This is a great idea. I think we should flesh this out a little bit more. Then that actually helps us sort of target areas that you're already looking at. And maybe provide you some space to do some of the stuff you want.
I think too, we have to remember though, this money needs to be spent by the end of next year.
So I thought it was the 26th, December 26th.
25.
You told me December 26th.
But it was next year as well. I think the money has,
December 25.
so that's next year.
Right.
So this program,
Needs to be allocated is what you told me. That's why I'm thinking if we can allocate it.
I think if it's December 24, we've got some allocating to do, but I think if
Correct.
it's December 25, I think we can work with it.
And I think it's allocated, so what everyone's saying, it has to be spent, correct? That's what you're saying?
I thought, but let me double check.
It has to be allocated.
Spent by the end of 25.
Yeah,
I thought it was
24, that's where we were.
allocated.
I thought it was,
This has to be allocated by the end of this year. We just have to have things under agreement. Let me check with the gentleman who's running the ARPA funds. I thought it was the end of next year.
That would be,
So, you know, while we're talking about 420,
420.
the amount of money,
Oh,
not that 420. Any feel, Erin, for the sign facade numbers from the 4 applications you have?
Small,
10, 20?
not even.
Okay, okay, great. So I just didn't want to all of a sudden say, oh, yeah,
Right,
we've got 2 people who are
exactly.
looking for $40,000 because they're doing an $80,000 improvement.
right. We got one who wants 200,000.
Haven't applied yet. Yeah.
Right. But to your point, if we have this stuff sort of, we want to target it here, we want to target then we know. Right?
The numbers are.
Well, and if we don't get enough applications to spend the X amount of money, does that money go back into the till?
That's how I imagine.
It was allocated, so then you can keep going. It'd be good to know, because I thought I heard something
I
different.
mean, there's an end date for this, no matter what, right? The money has to be gone away, not in our hands type thing. But
So when you say our hands, is it your hands?
the town in general, yeah, yeah.
So if we only get requests from the applications for 200,000, then that other money, would we do maybe another program? We have till 2025, it's already been allocated. If we did another application process in January, then the other.
Because we can all see the facades that we think,
Yeah.
that
The
You would
last
think-
one of them was mentioned on the survey.
you would think would be reaching out to you, like the ones where you walk around town, you see it, and you're like, oh, these folks could really take advantage of this.
But they also have to match the money we give, so maybe they don't have the funding themselves to do that. That's probably what's happening. So it might cost 100,000, we'll give them 50, they still have to come up with 50. That might be a tough nut to crack for them.
I'm going to jump back to, are you set?
So,
A lot of jibber jabber coming out of me.
all good stuff.
All good stuff. You set?
I sent an email out to you in regards to just ideas of places that Wakefield might entertain. Having such a wonderful ability to reach the pulse of the community, maybe having a survey to people to see what they would like to see in Wakefield, populate that to the top 4 or 5 answers would give us a little bit more direction maybe on who we should pursue. I think that the brewery idea is very trendy because there's so many other towns that they're popping up in and blah, 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 blah. I'm not solely focused on that. I just have access to it. But I like the pursuit. If, I feel sometimes like I'm, a dog in a chain, just trying to find something exciting and new to bring here. But to have focus when people are like, yeah, I see, I had that request and now people are pursuing it. In 2025, that's going to be coming down to Main Street. Wow, my input counts. And then we have something a little bit more to work on.
So a survey going out to the residents.
Sure. Whether it be on Facebook Marketplace or whatever social media platform. Guys, I mean, I have to give some credit to my wife because she suggested that. Because she can see some gaps and like the sweet green that I brought up prior. There's only so much pizza and stuff that you can eat here, We're looking for another healthy option. It's just an example.
So you'd like to see a survey out to the residents?
Correct.
That would be Jen, right? That would be.
I mean, I don't mean to overstep, but it might be worth a town day having a board of you guys as a fun thing there, saying like, what would you like to see in Wakefield? And then from there, setting up a survey, working with Jen, that you could have a follow, like a QR code there to follow up, because then you're reaching an audience there, and then you could share it from there. And that could be something from you guys, no.
That's a great
That's a
idea.
great idea. Okay.
Okay.
Your wife wanted to put this one. I'm teasing.
We'll see what Sophia says.
And that is the 21st, so that's September 21st.
Yes.
You can't overstep, so just to be, you jump in
Oh,
and.
no, I was just gonna say that might be a good
Yeah, that's a good
idea.
I'm gonna jump back to 6A, the mural and public art. So, I'm gonna throw a bunch of words out again. So when we say mural, sometimes folks have a very specific idea of what that is, and they have an emotional reaction one way or the other. So I think I'm gonna start saying things as public art. Because what I'm thinking is, and down in Rhode Island, in Newport, they just did the elephants. You know about the elephants? Brought a ton of people, and now they're doing birds. There's the painted horses. So being able to have something that really draws people in, for me, when I see public art up on buildings or out, that draws me into an area.
Similar to like Seaport Boulevard sculptures and.
Yep. And then the one thing that I do think Wakefield has, that maybe Wakefield could lean into a little bit more, is we really, really are patriotic, veterans, military focused. Galvin's named after a general. You have Maricol. You walk down here, you have a whole bunch of things. And I think of Lexington and Concord, right? So Lexington and Concord has the one moment, right? And that's their brand. So thinking about public art and leveraging who we really are, and having it be maybe respecting our vets and our military, because that's really a big part of who we are, the lake, the library, to get folks maybe a little bit more comfortable with the notion of public art and Wakefield really representing who Wakefield is.
I just sent you a picture I took of some public art. And,
I think you gotta, can we not do picture?
sorry.
Is that someone's sign?
I recommend that moving forward, just an FYI.
Can you send it?
Public art, I'll send it to whomever
send-
you like.
Are you able to display it?
Yeah, I could, what's the public art that you're talking about? I can find on my computer here.
It was a combination of advertising, just a paint out building, not in Wakefield.
Yeah, and staying away from because that's the concern, right? You delve into signage, that's a concern.
Right, and then that was gonna be the comment, was signage stuff.
Right, so,
And so you get into, is it public art or if you're gonna get business owners to buy into their building, do they need a piece of advertisement in it? So how do you transition between which space am I gonna get public art on when a business owner will allow that? Versus, geez, it's not really signage, but I would love to just paint some kind of mural that shows, my coffee cups and some cupcakes and what I have in the facility that's also got, maybe it's a bandstand, or maybe you've got a blanket laid out lakeside, or maybe you've got a combination of Wakefield themed and what type of your business is.
Right.
Maybe it's a slush, maybe it's a.
so you would stay away from doing business specific. It would really be a private public partnership, and it would really be,
That's my point about the partnership thing.
Yeah.
You get, your Wakefield piece and you get some partnership stuff tied in as well.
right,
That might be easier. I mean, and again, mural art, not free.
correct. Correct. Right. Sometimes when folks say mural, they have a specific, something pops in their head, a visual, and it tends to be emotional. So they're either really for it or really against it, right? So all I'm trying to suggest is that when we're thinking about murals of public art, that our goal here will be to truly represent the town of Wakefield. And the town of Wakefield has a strong veteran presence. It's like, you come down Main Street and you see a ton of it.
Yeah.
A beautiful library, an amazing lake, and really focusing on the elements of Wakefield so that folks can maybe say, oh, all right, yeah, that I'm behind. That I like. I like the idea of that versus whatever emotional reaction they're having to the idea of a mural. Like, oh, a mural, it's going to be whatever.
So, I mean, this is just Boston's, an article quickly I found, but in public art scene,
It's down in South, right? Down in
Yeah.
South.
Seaport, yeah.
Seaport's amazing.
You hit the fast forward button in there for.
So that's public art. We probably don't have the money to do public art, but we have a lot of blank canvases.
Why don't we have the money to do public art?
I don't think those pieces are inexpensive.
Correct.
What about kickstarting it, that, as we talked about before, in regards to the student body and having various levels of students compete to be able to do a mural in a public space?
So it wouldn't be on a public space, because then you're getting into,
Right.
so it would be a private-public partnership. So doing a mural is a very specific skill set. So I do agree with the students or the local artists, but having a muralist who actually can maybe even be like the lead, I think is really in our best interest. And I think we do have funds to maybe kick something off.
I think there's a lot of blank canvases that would look considerably better with some mural work on them. We'll call it public art.
Yeah.
Maybe even, I work in Alston and there's tons of murals in Alston. There was just one put up 2 doors down. I know the business owner there, I can at least to refer to that person to get an idea of price point and square footage.
So I had a muralist who actually knows local artists. And she's done Lowell, right now she's doing Amesbury. And we walked down Main Street. And she noticed the veteran focus, and then we went into the library and then went down to the lake. And she came up with it just in her head, right? Because that's what artists do. So welcome to Wakefield. And she's like, oh, this will flow into this, and this will flow into this. And she was talking about the duck, the bee from the library, the statue over here. So really taking the essence of Wakefield and saying, we really could do something that really is highlighting the essence of Wakefield.
Did she have any locations she'd like to do that?
So we haven't talked to a couple.
Business owners?
Right. And there was one where she said, this is perfect, right? And she did do a very quick estimate, and she did high. Last time it was, we chatted about it a little bit, and it was 50,000 for, I forget what the size is. It's one of the spaces probably, And then I think Rocco had said, well, it's really high. So I went back and gave her the feedback, and then she actually line itemed it. It came down quite a bit. And I forget the numbers, I think 30 is, but again, it's a ballpark. And,
Sure.
Yeah. And the other thing that she said is we walked past Hart's Hardware and she's like, I know where I'm going to get my stuff. So the whole notion of bringing the money back into Wakefield, right?
Mhm.
And then even like we were going to go down to Newport and look at the elephants, because I'm like, oh, it's kind of cool. So we've been thinking about something like that. And I don't know how much that cost, but that's something maybe we could investigate. Because that to me brings people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I like that price a lot better than the first
The
one.
30,
Yes.
yeah. Was I?
The first one was pricey.
Yeah.
So what would be the next step with that? Is it contact business owners? and say, hey, what do you think about?
So it's kind of a chicken and egg, right? So do we allocate funds towards it? And then we do an opt-in? Like, because that's what I've been thinking about this. Do we have an opt-in where we're doing sort of the program, the way you're laying out the program with the digital marketing? Or it's an opt-in, right? So folks, so you have the program out there, folks reach out to you. Do we do it that way? And in addition, go and kind of have a conversation with some folks and see where they're landing on it.
Well, that might be one of the questions on the survey that you do at Town Day. Would you like to see?
She's having us do it.
Would you like to see, murals in the downtown area? How would you make the downtown, it's visibly more vibrant?
And it came up on your,
Yeah, it's number 5 of 9.
yeah, it's
Mm.
yeah. So what do you think? Does it make more sense? To Chris's point, does it make more sense? I'm gonna pause, sorry. Ali, you have anything to add?
It's kind of a silly comment, but there are these photographers that post pictures and videos of bald eagles at Quannapowitt and Crystal Lake, and that just keeps flashing in my mind as like the image of Wakefield, like the all-American, and it's kind of like too Chuck Norris for my usual taste, but I love the idea of like a huge bald eagle mural in downtown Wakefield.
Right, excellent. So good. Aaron, what do you think? An opt-in? So what do you think? Like set it up as a program where folks could opt in if they have a building that like, I'd love to have this. They can reach out to you and say, can my space be considered for this? In addition, sort of reaching out to I call them the usual suspects and see if they're interested.
Would this be like just one public art piece, or would it be some maybe smaller ones?
Well, it's two different things.
Mhm.
One public art thing is a little different than the mural program.
But we could have,
You can call it that.
we could have, that's why I was calling it public art, because you do public art, you could have underneath that, murals, you could have underneath that, statues or whatever they're called, maybe called something. I was even thinking events, right? So you could have events. And that would be the bucket that could be the overarching, was my thought.
Either way.
If you get into the allocation tier, then yeah, I would put $50 or $100,000 into the mural public art program. If you want to commit it somewhere, and we're looking for places to do that, but I think you represent that we've got a sum of money towards murals in the downtown and approach some of the business owners. But I think we could allocate some funds towards that. Call it a starting point of 50 and see what the response is looking at it.
Is that your motion?
Sure.
I think it should be higher than 50 personally. Because 50 gets us.
50 gets you, well, so call it a $50,000 starting point towards the mural art program.
Can I make a suggestion? Because I'm a big fan of public art. I've talked about it for a long time.
Mhm.
And I think there's so many examples of what people have done, that we are not Newport, Rhode Island, but that's like an awesome thing. But you look at the YMCA in Melrose, and they've got a mural that changes almost every month, I think, and it's kindness related. I don't even know. I think that's by Follow Your Art. I was in P-Town last weekend, and they have this fundraiser that's public art where they had whales, and then artists paint the whales, and then they auction off the whales, right? And it's all in this one area, and we like purposely went to see it. And it's actually a pretty great fundraiser, because I looked them up, and these whales were $3,500, and I was like, I could have done that.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking about, whether the eagle or the bandstand or the lake or something, like we could do something like that. I think there's a lot of models we could go. And I feel like I want to explore a little bit more about what's out there before we start committing because I love it. I think there is money, but I think we just need to kind of see what's out there, what other towns and municipalities have done, and then what we could bring here. And I also, my personal thing is like, I want to think about collaborating with our ACE building, right, as a gallery space. We have a lot of places, banks included, the library who do art gallery, right? That's public art. That's free. Like you don't have to pay. They work with the senior center. And I think there's like opportunity for us to kind of partner and do inside, outside public art. I just want to explore a little bit more. But we also, I don't get a vote, so you guys can say, but I do think there's a lot of models out there and I'd love to just kind of learn more about them. Like maybe at a future meeting.
So we have 400, so we don't know the date, right? We don't know.
So I believe it has to be committed by the end of this year. I don't, yeah,
So.
by December.
Oh, yeah, it has to be committed by the end of this year.
So 420, we're heading into September. So what I was hoping is that we could maybe allocate it into the buckets, like saying these are the ideas, right? So public art, absolutely want to, motion on the floor. Let's do that. And then we'll do the work, right? Because otherwise we're going to hit December and we're going to have a massive scramble and we're going to do it anyhow, right? We're going to be like, let's just throw it here, throw it here. Throw it here. If we do it where it's the TIF, cornerstone industry, public art, then we're starting to say we've got these big buckets and that we need to dig into like the, how much did it cost Newport? Because I know they sold those things afterwards. They sold them, which is amazing, right? It's probably similar to pizza. But if we're spending, when do we start? We've been doing this for 6 months? 6 months? How long have we been doing this? 6 months?
March or April, yes.
Yeah, it was 6 months. My project manager brain has kicked in on a lot of this, and it would make more sense to have the big buckets in place, and this is where we're going to focus for the next September, October, November, to get into the details of these 2 or 3 things where we've allocated the funds, because otherwise we're going to hit December.
I mean, maybe to your point, I think if we allocate the money, we will find the best programs and then it becomes real. And it may not necessarily end up being a mural program. Maybe it will be something else. But if you call it a public art mural initiative to create that in and around the downtown area,
You got the buzz.
you have it and there's money there. It's
Yeah.
not.
I don't disagree with you.
There's money there.
I think you're taking the gamble on, and it can be changed in the future, is like, is it 50,000 or is it 420,000? So your motion is like, let's just try 50,000 and see. And I would prefer like us seeing what's out there and what things cost before we kind of allocate it into the bucket. Because I think there's the commitment about
with you on that.
public art. And I hear you that you are a project manager, and I'm coming from a space of like, I feel like we just need to think things out a little bit more before we throw money at it. But I think we're getting to the same, like, I think we all want the same stuff. But to me, because the number you said last meeting was not 50,000, right? I mean, you said 1 million, was it?
No, it was 50. She had 3.
Yeah.
So one of the massive ones was 95.
Yeah.
Massive. So
Right.
let's be and then the other ones were 50. And I asked her, it said it was high. I said, even for me, it sounded high. And she went back and she said, because she did just like,
Yeah.
ballpark it. And she did go back and say, let me really look at this. And she did do the numbers. And it came, the one that was 50 came back in at 30.
So, and because I hear you, Chris, and you know the downtown much better than I do, I would say, like, of what canvases are you thinking about, and I just feel like for us to be put a little parameters before we're like, this is $50,000 makes sense. Or could we do it you know, or we're really gonna need 100,000 if we talk, or we need 28, right? And instead of us, then there'll still be the scrambling. I just think a little like, I just love to hear and put some numbers, and you have the numbers about the murals. And if we're thinking other public art, like getting some numbers behind that.
Agreed.
Like very easy to call Melrose and be like, who's doing that and what does it cost you,
Mhm.
right? And that's one wall. And then if we maybe, you know,
So I agree with you on the public art stuff, and I totally agree. I think 50 for a mural project makes sense. For a public art project, I'm thinking it's another 100, right? I'm totally with you. We have to do our homework. And I'm clearly not doing a very good job of it. Trying to get out the concept of, we need to figure out what big buckets we want to allocate money into pretty darn quick, because fall's coming. So I was trying to put out the big buckets, and the big bucket would be not just, let's do a mural, but like, what about if we would just make it a little bit bigger as public art? Because that's a big bucket. And then the cornerstone, because that's a big bucket. Pulling in a brewery is a big bucket. So that's more where I was thinking.
Feel the need to investigate further. We have got another meeting coming up, and I think that if the thought is, next meeting, we'll have a better handle on some harder numbers and some communication from maybe the ACE community or the public school system or some artists
What's
who want to do this.
the Albion Culture Exchange building.
Because we both reached out to the Arts Council. Because I do think that's really where it would flow through, right? Okay.
So is that an action item? I mean, I'll withdraw my motion, but is that an action item for next meeting, that we've got feedback from these people, these groups? And with the intent to try and put that forward?
So I think for me, I agree, public art is in a public space. But what I was seeing more is things that would draw, and it will draw people in if you have an art exhibit in the cultural center. If you have stuff out in the world, that people are gonna just, come downtown and they're gonna look at stuff and they're gonna like, oh, I'm hungry, I'm gonna go grab this, that, and the other thing. That's an awesome outfit I see. I'm gonna, right? So that was more my thought of it being exterior versus interior. But yeah, we can do.
I mean, there's lots of towns, and maybe this is on Erin's bucket, like, so Newburyport did fishes a couple of years ago, right? Boston does the cows every couple of years, right? So it's not that this hasn't, so you're thinking more of, that's like a campaign, right? That's a visit us
Right.
campaign.
Right.
And so I think we need to find some examples and cost that out a little bit. Like, I'd love to just kind of, but like Newburyport did, I'm sure there's other towns that have actually done it. I just don't know them. But last summer, Newburyport did fishes, and you walked around to find, and they had a map of the fishes that were painted differently, right? So.
The other thing out that said opera grants, which that's exact, because I did the same thing right there. And they're doing amazing stuff down on the waterfront, and they have that huge sign funded by ARPA. And I'm like, oh, we should do that. Agreed, totally agreed.
Apparently we're going to.
Huh?
So apparently we're going to do that.
I also think there's a difference too between temporary public art and permanent.
Yep.
So something to think about too.
And then I think, the vision is it brings people in. Well, let's see, like, did they make money off of it, right? Like, can they point as the Economic Council, was it successful, right? Because I think we all like it, but like, where's the return of investment? Did they see? And that's something I think if you call some of those towns, Erin, then like we can, in your chats of like others that have tried it and it was worth it.
I'm gonna take that, because we've just given you so much. I promise to call around to some of these municipalities and find out. Because your list is like so huge. I know, you're like, I got it all.
No, I know many of these people that work at these communities. It's just like a quick phone call. Like even Burlington did like a pig thing recently that I'm looking at that was sponsored by local businesses and they sold them off at the end, in their
They
comment.
sell them off at the end. That's what they do. It's really interesting. Like, I don't know they must go to the Arts Council or something, right?
Yeah, I don't know, but
Yes, so it's 7:35.
Just a quick,
Yes. Can we do
we
the
talked
meeting?
about next meeting, asking state reps and legislators to come in. So if we pick a date, I'll call them and just see if they're available.
Do you have 1 minute?
Yep.
Folks, look at their calendars. September. Wednesday still work?
Mhm.
Wednesday 6 still work, yeah?
it's right now, yeah.
Do we want to do the 18th or the 25th?
I can't do the 18th.
Okay. Can folks do the 25th?
25th is fine, but would it be beneficial to have it before town day?
Is that why you can't do the 18th?
I run an expo in Marlboro, so
Okay.
it's 2 days, 3 days.
So because it's going to be, Ann's going to see if she can get the.
Well, I don't have to be here. I mean, that's
State-
fine.
You're the contact person, no?
Well, I can call them and get them in.
Yeah.
Up to you guys.
What 2 days of your expo? Because I don't have an issue moving the day.
I have, I'm there all week. I
Okay.
run a DPW expo.
Ali, how's your calendar looking?
It makes sense to meet after, because then we can discuss.
Yeah, right, yeah.
I have 18 open, but I'm out of town on the 25th.
Do we want to change from a Wednesday to a Thursday, or does that not work?
I'm
You get
open.
it every night?
I'm there Monday through Thursday, so feel free to, it's fine.
Does Thursday work for you, Ali?
Which the 26th?
The 19th, I would say, if we want to go before
19th.
town day.
19th?
Yes, that works.
Chris? Yeah.
Yep.
And it doesn't. Works for me. 19th works?
Mhm.
Yeah. Amy? Yeah. Aaron?
Mhm.
Okay.
Right, so I'll get them in on the 19th.
The 19th.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. We need you to close out. I don't know that rule. Do we need that form to?
No, I don't think we need quorum to close out. We're not voting on anything. We just are closing out. Again, I'm not the expert, but pretty sure we should be fine. We're not voting on anything.
19th, 6 o'clock. Thanks, Ann. 6. Is everybody else okay? You have your one? We didn't get you.
Yeah, I would rather have more people here, I think, than for that.
For the transportation.
Mhm.
I'm going to sum up this last conversation, if that's okay.
Please.
So we're going to do a little more research on the public art specific to temporary. Bringing temporary. So we'll hold off on a motion. Did you pull your motion back?
I did.
And then chat with some of the usual suspect businesses. I think that most of us are thinking of when we think of what we're a great space. Yeah. And then I think if we do also make it an opt-in, because there might be a space that we're not thinking of that someone comes and says, I'd love to do this here. And I'm like, oh, that would be great. Yes, am I missing?
Nope.
No. All right, so we'll move the 6B to the next meeting.
Mhm.
The announcements? The 21st, no. Any items not anticipated by anyone? Ali? Any items you want to talk about?
Nope.
Oh, good, Chris.
Good, thank you.
Okay. I want to make a motion to adjourn. That's what I think we need.
Make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Ali in favor?
Favor.
Favor, okay.
Yes.
Yes, Julian. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.